but it's so fucking stupid. It's ridiculous. And it was a woman who saw the movie who said she really liked the movie, she thought it had a great positive message. But could you please take out all those specific things?
Those specific things made it, taking those out, and now it's an R?
Now it's an R.
Oh.
What you saw was an R, but with those 3 things added, it was an NC-17.
Yes. Okay, so we saw.
You saw an R, yeah.
You're going to release the NC-17?
No, I can't. Unfortunately, I was contractually obliged to deliver an R, so I was, of course, assumed I would get an R, and when I turned it in, I got an NC-17. And it was before I actually finally picked it up, and I think had I waited until finally picked it up, I probably would have gotten an R, but unfortunately, because I did not have a studio behind me, they totally fuck you if you're an independent filmmaker, and so they just give you an NC-17, and then I had to make the cuts for regular contract, so.
Can you talk about how you went from the concept of the script to actually the production process?
A lot of the money people just simply said, you know, you have to go with an established director before they would, as it's kind of, I don't know, I suppose everyone looks for some kind of guarantee, some kind of insurance, as if any project could really have that.
You either need to have a name or a good name director or
well, I know, but I would think the risk, the risk you really should take and put your judgment on is the content of the film, is the material itself. But it's very hard to get anyone to do that. We gathered the money together over the years, basically. We found people who believed in it and gave us a commitment. And all of it with the contingency that I would do it and that Michael would direct it, that was always along the line.
right.
And then I think along the line we got Tommy Lee and Tommy Lee Jones, and then we got some more fun.
So it's a new tape?
Yeah, brand new. Brand new tape.
A lot of times directors, especially sometimes first-time directors or people in their sophomores, maybe first time around, go, oh wow, you're Kathleen Turner, you're whoever, we're just going to let you go. Whatever you do is sort of great. And the reason I knew Sophia had always been a great director, she was incredibly decisive about the choices she wanted. And a lot of times, one of the ways I work in particular is I try a lot of outrageous stuff. And I mean, sometimes I do stuff and she go, are you kidding with that? I mean, literally, I'd say, well, hey, listen. And one time, to my credit, she actually said, when you did it, I thought it was ridiculous and over the top when we watched it in dailies. There was a thing, with the plate, yeah, with the way. But there were times when she would actually say, you know what, it really doesn't work for me, it's not the way I see it, and so on. And very rarely would a first-time director say to someone, sort of, I mean, not that they should feel this way, but a lot of times they just sort of buy into all the star bullshit or something like, well, gee, I hate to, should I ask him, not to do that scene so ridiculously over the top, And she was really great about knowing what she wanted, and at the same time was really open to new ideas if we had the time to do it, And then gave me my present at the end, my little statue, which was like, like an Oscar or an Emmy or something, and it was a can of actually Virginia baked ham with a little thing under world's greatest ham, which I thought was nice,
James, there are more and more sort of major names in Sundance films over the past few years. I was wondering if you think the tables have sort of turned, and it's kind of a status thing for celebrities to be in indie films these days.
Well, I don't think it's a status thing, but I think, smarter actors who are more accomplished are starting to get hip to the fact that, maybe doing Mercury Rising is not the way to have a career. I mean, with all due respect, but you know what I mean. It's like I mean, I've always been, the only thing I'm really truly proud about my career is I've done so many independent films, and many of them kind of cutting edge or about real things and so on. It's every great. This is so embarrassing. Hold on a second. This is so embarrassing. I don't want to be rude. Hi, I'm in the middle of something. Can I call you back? Okay, who is it? Oh, hi. I'll call you back. Okay, that's Oliver for you. Okay. Okay. It's so embarrassing. Quintessential was Oliver for wanting to know, where the penicillin was. But anyway, so joke. Okay, so you know, what happens is you kind of look around and I mean, you read a script. I mean, thank God for the stock market, because you know what? I don't ever have to work again, and you know, and she's married to like, you know, a DGA nominee, Best Director nominee. And,
I can't do
yeah,
whatever I want. I have to support myself.
yeah, exactly. You just lie around in negligees and be like hot.
I
you
need
know?
bonbons.
You need bonbons.
Jay,
Talk about your digital camera and what you're shooting and,
Well, you know, I got here Sunday because they have this thing called
I've
the
heard
Apple.
that digital filmmaking is big now.
Yeah, I heard it might be big. Yeah.
Let's get in on that.
I heard it might be big. Now, I do a thing called the Apple Masters program. I've always been a big proponent of the Macintosh. I actually owned the very first one when all of you were 4, back in 1984, actually. And so one of the things I lectured on, Gus Van Sant and I came up and did some lectures on how to use, you know, DV with the Macintosh, using Final Cut Pro or using iMovie for people who just want to step right in and do it. And I mean, essentially demonstrating that you can make an extraordinary full-length movie for under $5,000. I mean, all in. I mean, this Canon camera, the GL1, is phenomenal. And by the way, they don't pay me to endorse any of this stuff. I'm saying this because I really mean it. It's a phenomenal camera. $2,500. The Macintosh DV is it's like $1,400, and it comes with iMovie. I mean, you can literally sit down. I can take you, if you didn't know anything, I'm sure you all do because you're pretty savvy, but I can sit you down right now and you could edit all this footage, put in lay-in tracks, you know, do special effects, everything, literally in 10 minutes. You know how to do it.
can we look forward to a digital film from James Woods?
I don't know. I'm on the verge of. I'm just sort of minutes away from making a deal to direct my first feature film, which in fact will be done, of course, 35mm film right now because it's one of those studio things. But I mean, I understand that over half the films here, including Slam Dance and all the rest of it, you know, or digital video. A kid came up to me, he was 18 years old. He'd used Final Cut Pro. He'd used the Mac. He'd used the Canon, and he had made a feature movie. He had here. He was 18. And he said, you know, I'm such a fan of yours. Blah, blah, blah. And he said, you know, I got this movie here. He said, do you think, you know, like millions of people like me are going to be doing this in the next few years? You think that's a good thing or a bad thing? And I said, anything that puts kind of, you know, like Mike Ovitz out of business is a good thing. You know, I mean, you know, I don't mean that because I don't know Mike Ovitz, but my point is, you know, it's like great that people can go because there's going to be more of a kind of Darwinian evolution of filmmaking, and people are going to be able to make their films. And they're going to be able, if nothing else, to kind of audition for the powers that be. So, kind of ties in with your question. I'm here because, you know, this is where the good filmmaking is. You know, I mean, you know, a lot of the older people aren't making hit films.
They're trying to wrap this up, so one quick question.
No, wait, they're big.
Recently,
They're big, I'm little.
Sharon Stone gave an award speech, and she thanked you a number of rock personalities.
Right.
What did she mean by
Not
that?
pressing.
She meant that, I don't know what she meant by that. I mean, she's like a pal of mine, I'm like, you know, but it was like, the joke was that, you know, you never know who's going to show up, kind of, you know, which coming from her was really an extraordinary kind of Pirandellian moment, but, Pirandello?
Yes.
No, never mind.
Yes,
Okay.
Main characters essential. You came out every day the same.
Did I come out the same? Yeah, Mr. Lisbon.
Yeah,
Came out,
yeah.
And now it's like a Dybbuk. I'm there and it's never going to change.
Sophia, the press note said that you didn't know that you wanted to be a director until you read this book. What did it awaken?
I mean, now looking back on it, it's pretty obvious that I wanted to be a director, but I just think it took me longer having my dad be such a big figure in it. But, you know, when we were kids, we were always making movies, doing little plays and stuff like that. So, but I made a short film, and that's when I realized that I knew a little bit about filmmaking, and I was excited to try more. And then when I read the book, I loved it, and I heard someone else was doing a movie of it, and I felt really protected, like they're gonna not do it right, I have to do it. I just started writing the screenplay, but I never thought I would really get to do it because someone else was gonna do it. And then when that didn't work out, I met the producers, Chris Hanley and Bertie Hanley, and asked them to read my script, and they called up one day and said, okay, if you want to try to do it, you can. And that's when it all began. We you know, Kathleen and Jimmy signed on and helped us to get financing to get independent.
And what do you think about directing in the woman?
Is that what it is?
That's like 26%.
I don't know. I think it's exciting that there's really more different point of views in films.
All right.
Thank you
very much.
Sure.
James, is that movie you're speaking about, the sci-fi kind of thriller, or no? Not?
Which sci-fi thriller was it?
I don't know, the movie you're directing?
No, I've made the deal in directing.
haven't?
We're just sort of in the final kind of talks about it. So
Is that something you've written?
No, I actually did, I think what you're referring to is a project, a treatment that I sold to Castle Rock, that is now a done deal, a movie called The Final, so I did confirm this. I mean, the biggest mistake you can make is say, oh, I got a chance to direct a movie, and your heart's not really in it. And the one thing I want to do is this World War I movie, the Lost Battalion, and we had the financing and everything. I mean, it was like one of those important things. She said, just feeling confident in your choices and your first impressions, you know, like the scene at the door when Lux comes home after the night where she's presumably lost her virginity, and you know, it was a simple shot. It was just we come to the door. Of course, Kathleen's character is freaked out. I'm of course, you know, in a daze. You know, how do we handle this? And Lux is ashamed and so on. And most directors are going kind of tight to see reaction. And she stayed sort of far away because it was these people going into this sort of dark, sad house, and you know what's going to happen if you're smart enough and you get in the movie as you're watching it. So she took the choice to stay kind of at a distance, which I thought was, it's one shot. And most of the time, most people say, well, what's that got to do with movie making? I mean, where you are. But I mean, that to me was a quintessential sort of example of why Sophia is such a great director, because as a first-time director, she didn't, no, I'm serious now, I mean, she didn't say, oh, let's go in and get the coverage, because that's what the producers would, not these producers, but most producers would tell you to do, and do the usual boring shit. Instead, you know, she said, you know, I know what that conversation is, the audience knows what that conversation is.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
want it to be from the neighbor's point of
and
view.
from the neighbor's point of view, we'll see, that's the other part I didn't know, because, you know, I haven't done mine yet, but she's big now. No, but you know what I mean, so there was a reason, there's a thought behind every shot.
That was absolutely the right choice. It was fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Just a photo, just one photo.
Okay.